What's up, my friends? Welcome back to another video. And today we are going over a practical arranging tip that will help you write string passages that basically flow like butter, just go very, very smoothly. And it's a super simple technique actually, and based in classical tradition, but often overlooked by beginner composers. And we'll do a quick compare and contrast today to show you the before and after. And so by the end of this, you should have a very clear framework of what to do for your own string arrangements. So before we really dive in, I want to give you a completely free guide that I've created all about lush string arranging. 4 unique tips to get the most out of your sampled strings. And like this is something that I do basically in every string arrangement that I put together. There's like doubling rules, there's orchestration kind of tips in there. Just really core principles to get the most out of your string section and really make it sound as full and resonant as possible. So it's super valuable. A lot of my students have gone through it and found it very helpful, and I want to give that to you as well in case you don't have it yet. Just click the first link in the description box below and it'll take you over to where you can download it 100% free as my gift to you. And I have a super special announcement at the very end happening this week that I also want to share with you, so stay tuned for that. All right, so let's dive in. There's basically a before and an after here, or you could think of it as A and B. And yes, let's just maybe have a listen through to the A example, and then we'll listen to the B example, and maybe you can tell me what the difference is. The melody itself will be different as well, for sure, but just listen to the actual arrangement itself and see if you can pick up maybe what the difference is between those. So let's just have a quick listen. This is section A, or example A. Okay, and this is example B. Cool. All right, maybe let's listen one more time, and then maybe you can draw some conclusions from maybe which one you prefer, or something like that. Let's have one more listen. So this is A. Okay, and this is B. All right, now this is Cinematic Studio Strings, in case you're wondering about the library. Kind of whatever you do to it will naturally sound good, but let me open the MIDI data so you can see what's happening here. So this is the A example. You can kind of see how the lines are basically all following the same direction. So there's a lot of parallel motion going on here. And in my opinion, the A example is a little more blocky and a little more static compared to B, where it sounds a little bit smoother. So the reason for this is, again, because we're following this parallel motion where there's like multiple of each note that are basically going up the same interval, going down the same interval. So it creates this sort of blocky sound, even though it sounds decent in Cinematic Studio Strings. There is a bit of a gap there in terms of whether it sounds smooth or whether it sounds more detached. So if we take a look at the second example, you can see how the MIDI data is a lot more close together. And this is primarily because I'm following the concept of voice leading. So voice leading is the concept I want to stress home today. Essentially it allows you to create chords that really flow together, because instead of jumping up and down to the farthest notes, you're essentially going to the closest chord tone that follows in the next chord. So in this case, the chords are D major, A major, D major first inversion going to G major. So it's like 1, 5, 1, 6 to 4. The bass is outlining this motion. So the 1 goes up to the 5, goes down to the 3, which is the first inversion for the 1 chord, and then the 4 chord, right? But the rest of the parts, notice that they're barely moving. If anything, they're just moving by step, basically, right? There's minor seconds there, there's major seconds here. And that creates a much smoother motion compared to if you take a look at this. So this violin part, violin 1 part, looks essentially identical to the double basses part, which looks basically identical to the cello part. And then the violas are kind of doing the same motion here. And then the violin 2 is essentially doing the same motion as well. So more of a blocky approach, whereas if you look at this, it's a lot more visually appealing, and it creates more of a smooth wall of sound where it doesn't feel like the notes are jumping up and down. So in my opinion, the best way to establish passages that really flow smoothly are to make sure that your voice leading is as smooth as possible. So let's have one more listen here. Right. So it does sound nice, but that parallel motion in all of those voices, it does create a bit of a blocky sensation, in my opinion. Now, if we listen to the second example, the melody has changed for sure, but I kind of chose this because I wanted to keep the chord tones very close together. So right. So just as a little deeper dive here, like going from the first inversion chord, so D over F sharp, going to the G major chord, both of those chords share the D note. So there's a common tone there. And so if you just keep that, then the violins one don't have to change the note, right? And of course, here I had to go from D down to the C sharp because the C sharp is one of the chord tones of A major. But instead of jumping up to an A, which I did originally, going down to the C sharp is a much closer option. So it makes it feel a lot more seamless. Same idea here with violins too. I basically chose the note A. So the D major chord going to the A major chord, they both have an A in it. Then it goes back to the D major chord, which again has A in it. So I can just hold A the entire time. And then I go up to the B on the last chord. For the violas, I did have to change each chord tone. So I started from the F sharp, which is a third of the chord, going down to the E, which is the fifth of the A major chord, then back up to the F sharp for the third of the chord, and then back up to the G, which is the root of the chord of G major. So notice I'm basically choosing the closest option for each subsequent chord tone. Instead of jumping up or down, I'm really just choosing the closest option there. Same for the cello here. So same idea. So D, E, and then holding the D for 2 beats for both of those final chords. And then the bass obviously outlined the harmonic foundation to kind of tell us what the chord actually is as well. So that's the basic thing I just wanted to go over is smooth voice leading can do wonders for you. And if you think of it from a soprano, alto, tenor, bass perspective, like a classical choral tradition, and follow those smooth voice leading rules and think about the doublings, proper doublings, the harmonic series, then this will give you more chances of success when it comes to smoother and just more lush and full string arrangements. Because the ear can really pick out when notes are jumping back and forth and up and down. But if you keep the voices relatively smooth and you really only step up and down, maybe the occasional skip when you really need to, then that solves a lot of the problem of jumping around and making the entire passage feel disconnected. So just something to keep in mind there. So maybe let's have one more listen and then we'll wrap it up. So big jump up there, settles down, then everything rises up to the G chord, right? Whereas for the second example, it starts wide, closes in a little bit, broadens a bit, and the bass comes up a bit, right? So the voices have a bit more independence there, and there's a bit more contrary motion. There's some counter melody there, or not counter melody, but there's more harmony there that actually feels like it's working, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's generally it. Smooth voice leading, keeping those doubling rules in mind, and the harmonic series, and you'll get pretty far with this, honestly. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions about it in the comments below, and I'd be happy to help out there. And I did promise a special announcement. At the time of this recording, I have launched my newest course, Expressive String Arranging, this week, and the doors are closing tomorrow, which is Friday at midnight. So definitely join us while the intro price is active, and after tomorrow or after this weekend, the price will go up to its regular price. So there's basically 2 days left to join at the intro price. I'd love to have you on the inside, and it basically goes over not only just how to arrange for strings, but the core basis of the strings sections, the whole family, all the idiomatic details, articulations, and then those specific arranging techniques, like how to create full chords, how to make things really, really flow, add additional color to them in a very beautiful way. And then the third module goes over how to actually arrange them inside your DAW, like sample library techniques to keep in mind to get the most convincing results. It's a super comprehensive program, like my entire workflow, and by the end of the course, you should be able to arrange string passages, lush string passages that you're so proud of and you're happy to share with the world. And that's my ultimate goal for you. So I'd love to see you in there. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video, and take care. Bye bye.